Hello and welcome to the Buena Vista Project, a podcast about Mexican-American history, politics, cultura, y más, coming to you from San Antonio, the Mexican-American capital of the United States. I'm your co-host, Michael Quintanilla.
And I'm your co-host, Elaine Ayala. It's just you and me this time.
Love it.
We're going to take a couple of topics that we usually talk about over tacos, so I'm already hungry.
I'm hungry too, Elaine. But here goes with the first one. San Antonio's tradition after a Spurs game. I'm talking about honking. It's become the soundtrack of San Antonio this month. That rolling chorus of honks accompanied by cheers, flag whipping in the wind, and Spurs joy because it is all about the Spurs.
Celebratory honking predates the San Antonio Spurs. In my family, honking takes me back to two big events in 1969. No, 1968, I think.
The hemisphere years.
Yeah. So it was the moon landing July 20th of that year. My dad, who died the following year, was watching this global event with the rest of us when Neil Young said those famous words. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. We started hearing honking throughout the neighborhood on the west side, and my late brother Albert and I must have looked to our father with such longing that he gave us permission to get into his prized white Impala and join the celebration. He loved that car.
That car.
Then a few months later, my sister was married at San Fernando Cathedral on September the 15th, and my cousin Judy recruited the drivers, all of them women. She was a feminist, to take the entire wedding party, me included. I was just 11,
Just a little girl.
But I was one of Masi's maids of honor. There were two of us,
Yeah.
and they were going to take us to the salon after the mass. All the cars were parked outside of San Fernando, the oldest continuous functioning religious community in Texas and the oldest standing church in the state.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, the street was open to traffic, and we proceeded to drive through the streets of downtown, horns beeping continuously. It was a celebration and customary when married couples departed the church. We must have caused such a ruckus that a police officer pulled the whole crew over. Judy, my cousin Judy, was on the first one and told us to stop beeping so much. It was too loud.
Too loud.
We were
my
causing.
goodness. Imagine that.
We were causing chaos.
So, in related story, Elaine, we must talk about the behavior of honking enthusiasts on Southwest Military Drive. That's my hood. And here's the scene. Muchachas and muchachos piled into truck beds, kids, teens, adults, leaning out of windows or through sunroofs, filming TikToks. Engines are revved, right, ready to go. There's twerking, there's fireworks, and there even was a fire on the street some time ago, and I believe a couple of arrests, if not more since then. Mm-hmm. It's frankly, in my opinion, and maybe others as well, embarrassing to see young men and women too, the great majority of them Mexican-American, having fights in the street, who obviously may have been drinking too much before, during, and after a Spurs win, and then head out in their vehicles. As our friend Jacob Beltran of the San Antonio Express News recently reported, quote, San Antonio police are once again urging Spurs fans to celebrate responsibly after recent playoff street parties along Southwest Military Drive led to honking, crowd control issues, and arrest. SAPD reminded fans that fireworks, reckless driving, and celebratory gunfire are illegal. The police also pointed to fights, crashes, and other quote unquote dangerous situations. Yes, it's loud and chaotic, and you could say it's also communal, even a civic ritual, right?
Absolutely.
But honking in San Antonio, according to my unofficial research, after a big Spurs win, is a ritual that began in the 1990s when the Spurs became a true championship caliber team and fans poured into downtown after playoff wins. You could also say that honking could be rooted in Mexican American and South Texas car culture traditions, cruising, caravanning, celebrating in the streets, the wedding that you just spoke about. Here's the thing, honking is accessible. You don't need tickets, money, or a fancy venue, right? It's joyful because it's loud and it's expressive. But also for many, the show on the street doesn't always reflect the best of who we are. Witness fights breaking out. So there is a safety issue, there is a respect issue, and a representation issue. And if you notice, most everyone has their smartphones in the air recording everything. So there is also this social media, look at me culture involved.
It's also, I also have to say, ridiculous that young Mexican American women, which are the ones I've seen in social media videos, and some not so young women celebrating by performing what amounts to pole dancing in public. I'm not a prude, you know that.
No.
But that belongs in strip clubs, in raves, or at a house party where people sign up for such behavior. I think the bottom line is, and what all this behavior has in common is probably drinking. San Antonio might have a drinking problem, you know, given all the DWI arrests. To those women and men, acuérdense, when you apply for a job, you might not get it because you're on social media somewhere participating in celebratory gunfire, which is a weird bureaucratic term for what's illegal, and public twerking. I mean, you're not going to get a job if you're showing your nalgas. Por favor.
So now let's talk about a non-local story that hit both of us while we were watching The Devil Wears Prada 2, and that is the Latino presence or lack thereof.
I didn't spot one Latino, but I know that you looked it up and
Well,
researched
I
it.
did a little bit of research on it, and first of all, it reminded me of other shows I grew to love. Friends. Not one of them was Latino.
There are no Latino friends, I guess, in New York.
How I wanted one of them, right? And then those Sex and the City girls. Where's my Latina, right?
Okay, I have a friend in New York who used to say, it's white Sex in the City.
Well, for the show maybe. But now comes The Devil Wears Prada 2. So I did a cast search and found that there are 2 Latino characters with minor supporting speaking roles in the movie. Blink, you might don't blink, you know, you might miss them kind of thing. But these parts are so minimal that I didn't even notice them, and apparently you didn't either. So from verified cast information, these are the characters. Podcaster number 1.
Yeah, they don't even have names as characters. They're podcaster number 1.
A speaking role in the media industry subplot, played by Millie Tamares. And fashion assistant number 1, a speaking role within the runway fashion floor ensemble, played by Kiara Gomez Glad-Bach. So what does this mean in the context of the film? While the sequel, and I did like the movie.
I loved the first one, and I enjoyed the second one.
But while the sequel brings back the original leads and introduces several new characters, the Latino representation, quite frankly, sucks.
It reminds me of what Congressman Joaquin Castro
That's right, when we had him on.
Brought to us about his continual fight to diversify the media. He's met with newspaper publishers. He's met with the Hollywood types. He's met with all book publishers.
Film, TV, literary, all of that. And Hollywood, yet again, fell flat by not casting, a central Latina or Latino in the movie, especially, I mean, the movie originates out of New York, right? In a city that is almost 1/3 Latino. So consider this, Elaine. The Latino population in New York City is roughly 2.42 million people, and the numbers show that it's pretty much half women and half men. In total, about 29% of the city's total population is Latino.
Yes.
And that is based on the 2022, the most recent U.S. Census Bureau American Community Survey data provided by the Office of the New York City Comptroller. Here's another breakdown of the largest Latino nationalities in New York City. Dominican, 702,000. Puerto Rican, 596,000.
Mexican, 339,000.
Ecuadorian, 191,000.
And Colombian, 107,000 people. That's a lot of Latinos
Yeah.
that represent New York.
It represents. So the devil is in the details.
Absolutely, all the
Not
time.
in the movie.
That's right.
So our two Latino characters have very minimal speaking roles in the film, depicting a city with a Latino population, again, that is 29% of New York City. Hollywood, do better.
Let's get to all the New York Times coverage of San Antonio lately. Some of it is about the Spurs and this incredible series, but not all of it. Okay, you moved too fast on the move back a little bit. I'm sorry, you moved a little bit too fast. Go back to the Spurs. Right there, right there. Okay, we need to start with one major story. No. You keep going down a little tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to tell you when to stop. That's okay. Keep going a little bit more. Okay, I'll start right there. So let's get to all the New York Times coverage of San Antonio lately. Some of it about the Spurs, but not all of it.
Right.
One major story by reporter Edgar Sandoval was especially important. Its headline reflected what so many people in the South and West Sides have been saying decade in, decade out. San Antonio is booming, it said. Why are so many still in poverty?
It's so true that San Antonio leaders from early in the 20th century decided on policy that didn't seek to curb poverty, but to perpetuate it. And one of Edgar's quotes that said it all was from a San Antonio housekeeper, Elaine. Quote, "I've been poor for as long as I can remember, but it feels like it is harder to be poor these days." End quote.
That's heartbreaking.
It is.
And so true that poverty has been baked into public policy over time. One of the things that is so prevalent is what redlining by banks did to San Antonio. Redlining, if you don't know what it is a discriminatory practice in which banks and other financial institutions deny or limit access to credit, insurance, or other financial services, or basically to certain neighborhoods based on the racial or ethnic composition of their residents, rather than the individual's financial qualifications or capabilities. Our history of selling us as a low-wage town, of allowing redlining, of shortchanging public schools, of relying on property taxes, all of that continues to result in poverty in San Antonio. I can hear our executive producer, Louis Escareño, talking about this. It's a part of policy in which every major housing development, every luxury hotel, every sports arena receives generous tax breaks at the expense of others. Persistent poverty is how it's been defined, comes with a lack of health insurance and shorter lifespans. It comes with every increase in water and electricity rates. It comes with higher rents, with gentrification, and with the rise in the cost of food and other essentials.
Yes, and as you know, there's been talk about those rates increasing.
Yep, very soon.
Yep. So this is why politics is exhausting. But the New York Times just recently brought us some great news about how to fight anti-gay public
In
policy.
some bright news.
Yes.
And by the same reporter who we've got to get
By
on.
Edgar, yes. So this is really great rainbow news. In another story from Edgar, we should bring him on sometime in the
absolutely.
future. He reported about our city's rainbow crosswalk, rainbow sidewalk showdown, because it was a showdown. And full disclosure, I serve on the mayor's LGBTQ advisory board. So the significance of this story about gay rights in San Antonio in a major national newspaper like the New York Times is far-reaching. Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones spoke to the Times about the city's decision-making under state pressure. There was such great pressure, not just for our city, but all other cities that had sidewalks, similar sidewalks. For those unfamiliar with the story, here are the Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes date us.
Yes.
Really date us.
I know they do. Or the Google search.
Or the AI
Or
search.
the AI search. So Governor Abbott ordered cities to remove rainbow-painted crosswalks, calling them political messaging. That's in quotes, political messaging. San
And
Antonio.
it's just in one corner of St. Mary's Street.
Four
Four
corners.
quarters.
Yes, And San Antonio risks losing up to $80 million in state funding if it refused to do this by Abbott's deadline. So the city complied with removing the crosswalks at the intersection of Main and Evergreen Streets, which is
it's
what
Main
you're
and Evergreen,
what you were talking about. But then cleverly found a workaround by painting rainbow sidewalks in front of a strip of businesses in our Pride Cultural Heritage District, which the state cannot regulate.
Yay. I love when politicians find a way for good.
Yes.
For good,
For
as the
good.
movie says, to outwit.
Yes. And our politician was Councilman Elaine and Micheal Rodriguez, who helped engineer this very solution. So this story sits, Elaine, also at another, we could say, intersection, and that is the intersection of LGBTQ plus rights, such as state versus city, right? State versus city power, and creative civic resistance. And these are all themes that the Times, I believe, follows closely. So we also had several San Antonio LGBTQ plus advocates featured in the article in photos, such as our councilman and attorney Maria Salazar, who is the past president of our LGBTQ Mayor's Advisory Board. So that was really, really a great presentation in the Times on our city's behalf.
Thanks for that, Michael.
Of course.
We've run out of time again, but we thank you for joining us. We're going to do more of these one-on-one podcasts, and you can find them all on our website, buenavistaproject.com, as well as YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music. Check back for new episodes of our show. Until then, Michael,
Hasta la buena vista,
vista.
baby.